Welcome, everyone, to the Demo Team podcast. We're here with Dan from World Eater on our second episode of the Badussy Files.
I love that name. I really do.
Well, thank you. I'm glad it brought us together today.
Yeah, me too, man. Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.
Getting your Badussy 8.
To anyone not in the know, or you just don't follow our Facebook page, these Badussy.
I mean, I tweeted it once too, but didn't get nearly as much traction. But
I think Facebook just has a little bit more of a demented, cult following on our Facebook page. So I
mean, you would think it'd be. I mean, I guess on our Facebook page, but you'd think it'd be different, right?
Yeah, Twitter would be more demented because Twitter is definitely it's the land of the lost. But we're fortunate enough that we have cool bands like World Eater that'll show up at the command of who wants their Badussy 8, which
it's true. I answer the call immediately.
Absolutely.
I mean, who doesn't want their Badussy 8? I mean, if you get that offer, I mean, how are you gonna say no? Like, were you gonna deny? You're gonna get in your own way? Why would you get in your Badussy 8?
But not only are you one of our earliest Badussy meals, one of our earliest Badussy meals, you're also I think our first death metal band to be on the podcast.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's
we're expanding horizons.
It's an honor.
Well, we're honored as well I mean, we're gonna finally explore this genre. So
yeah, it's drastically different from what I've heard from you. What you guys normally cover. So this will be an interesting one for sure.
Absolutely.
I feel like they're definitely, because we usually cover, post-hardcore bands that were like popular on MySpace at one point or anything. But I feel like death metal has always had a place within the scene. Like, them logos are never going away.
Yeah. And there was the whole deathcore thing, which was basically just like scene kids playing death metal with a little bit more like breakdown stuff going on. But everybody ate that shit up back in the day. I was a MySpace kid. I remember it.
There's a place for everybody on MySpace, and I'm glad that, with people trying to branch out and kind of bridge the gap between genres, I'm glad deathcore, I feel nowadays definitely deathcore has gone very different directions. I feel with Lorna Shore taking off, symphonic death metal elements are a little more at the forefront for deathcore. So I mean, that's always good. It's always good when bands that kind of visceral sound.
It's definitely cool what they're doing. To be completely honest with you, I brought it up. I was not a deathcore kid growing up, but hearing their EP with this new guy, Alex, I think his name is, awesome. Definitely really cool, bringing in the symphonic stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I guess we should just play it proper, and you give us a little bit of insight on what it is you do with World Eater.
Yeah, so World Eater, we're a death metal band from New Jersey. For those who aren't aware, we actually have a pretty healthy metal scene in the state. I mean, we always get stereotyped as being kind of a shithole, and I feel like we're just kind of lashing out in anger at that, maybe. But the metal scene here is super, super healthy. I play guitar. We are in the middle of working on a record right now. And in the middle of that record, we had to fire our other guitar player. So every single guitar on the record is me.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was super daunting, but a lot of fun. And I'm very, very happy with how it came out. We're going to try to get this thing out by the end of the year, but we'll see, man. We're just trying to plan it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're just
drop a death metal album for Christmas, right?
Yeah, exactly. We actually were talking about December probably, but I don't know. We've got a couple of couple of the email chains going on, and we're going to see whether or not we're putting it out or somebody else is putting it out. So we'll see. It's all up in the air right now.
I'm vibing with it, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate anybody that wants to strive and work for like good music. And with New Jersey, like not just their metal scene, I think their music scene as a whole is like very healthy, because a lot of great bands come from New Jersey, and it's just like maybe it is something in the atmosphere, maybe something in the water that just like causes people to strive a little harder to release some good shit.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, we've had so many just like legendary bands come out of this state, and it's like bizarre because it'll be really, really good for a long time and then just kind of completely peter out, and then figure out, it eventually builds up again, and then you have another wave of just like amazing bands after like 10 years of not really having much. It's cool to be a part of that, for sure. Death right now, it's basically death metal and math rock. Those are kind of the two things that you're seeing a lot of come out of here. So yeah, it's really cool to just see that super eclectic thing, because like we're a metal band, but I mean, I don't know, I'm wearing a Black Queen shirt. It's like a synth wave thing from the Dillinger Escape Plan's vocalist. Fucking awesome. But yeah, it's definitely a cool scene to be a part of, for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. So like, taking it back, you're a guitarist. Like, growing up, like what made you get into that instrument? Like, what was something that kind of like gravitated you towards that?
Speaking of New Jersey, literally, so it's really funny because I feel like you'll hear a lot of the same like names come out of people's mouths as like why they started playing their particular instrument. Like you'd expect to hear like Van Halen or something like that. Mine was literally Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance.
All right.
Like just seeing them. So I, growing up, I had like older cousins who were kind of not like involved in the metal music scene here, but they went to shows and stuff. So I heard about them a little bit before Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge came out. And I remember seeing them on that tour and just being like, shit, I need to play guitar, because he just like looked like, he just looked like such a badass on stage, like honestly. So I was like, all right, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then funny enough, World Eater is actually the first band that I play guitar live in like 10, like I've only played guitar live in like 2 bands, but most of my other projects I end up writing all the music for anyway. So it's like I kind of playing guitar, but I can't really sing and play at the same time. So it's always end up, me being the vocalist and getting another guitar player. But yeah, so this is band number 2. The first one was an emo band called Flora, who did basically one tour and never actually released anything. But it's fine.
It's pretty impressive. It's usually the opposite, right?
Yeah, it's been a weird path, for sure. I feel like I've kind of dabbled in all kinds of different genres, but this is kind of where I landed, and this somehow is the thing that's getting more traction than the other things. So here we are.
If it works.
Well, now you're on the Badussy Files, so it must be.
Fuck yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, Frank Iero is like, I don't think he ever gets enough credit. I feel like he's like a pretty kick-ass guitar player, honestly. I feel like he just I don't feel like people give him enough credit at all. But
I feel like, as someone who's not from New Jersey, but I'm a big, like, Frank Iero was probably the coolest dude in My Chemical Romance. Not only like on appearance look, but like his other bands that he was in, like Pensy Prep, Death Spells, like Leathermouth, and he's in LS Dunes right now, which is also freaking. I feel like he's like cool on his collar. Like the dude's just awesome, and like any band he's ever done, like even when he was the vocalist of Pensy Prep, that shit was fire.
Yeah, it's kind of like unbelievable. And yeah, Cash was right. Like he I guess he doesn't get the credit because he doesn't do the guitar solos or whatever, but he's doing all the cool lead shit. Like that's
Yeah.
all him.
Mhm.
And yeah, definitely not enough credit there.
They've always had like super awesome like guitar parts for sure. Like
Yeah.
they've all yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I like all the cool stuff that sounds like Queen. That's Rick. Anything that sounds dark, malevolent, and kind of like brooding and like neat, that's usually Frank.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's sick. It's a cool dynamic they got going on for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Like they're like two kinds of like before, like I think My Chemical Romance made it like the style and profile, like that's what everybody's doing now. I think at the time the reason why they popped so much, it was because it was so contradicting, like the stuff they were trying to present at the time. And that's just New Jersey for you, dude. They keep coming up with random ass shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like so many people living in such like a small area that like you just end up meeting like a ton of creative people, and if it works out, it works out, and it always ends up being something cool because you're getting a lot of eclectic tastes all in kind of one spot. So yeah, it's not only that like there's a lot of music happening, every band is so different from each other. Like we had even you've got like My Chemical Romance, and then you also have like Senses Fail, who are like a totally different sounding thing. Coming up around the same time, and then obviously like the legends that are Thursday, who also sound completely different from those two. It's like it's such a you don't really get copycat bands, and if you do, they usually don't last very long.
Copycats usually run out of ideas when like they're still waiting for the people to copy and to come out. It's about them.
And then they like, break up, and then the vocalist becomes like a trap guy or whatever. That was happening for a while.
Oh, yeah. Every lead singer dude had like an EDM trap or like some R&B project in the wings that they were hoping would catch some algorithm to get them up. Usually 9 times out of 10 that didn't work out too well.
No, and I'm
That's
guilty
just
of that
music,
too,
though.
Man.
That is.
It's true, but yeah, I'm guilty of that too. I put out a EP of house music like 6-7 years ago or something like that. Nobody heard it.
Hey, we'll listen to it.
I don't know if you should, to be honest.
Is it buried? Is it buried SoundCloud somewhere?
Yeah, it's definitely buried, and the mixing is insane. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, I'm gonna try this, and it didn't quite work.
Brick walled, like big giant sound wave.
Yeah, basically, and like nothing was balanced the way that it should have been. And yeah, great, good stuff.
His favorite, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's in terms of like background. I don't know, I've done so many different things over the years, but I feel like every type of thing I've done has always kind of eventually led to like some kind of metal thing. So I'm glad that I landed where I did, I guess.
You finally just accepted it. You're gonna do metal.
Yeah, like literally that's actually a thing. I like was trying to escape that for a while and
came to terms with it.
Yeah, I came to terms with it, and like I got asked to join this band like a couple of months after they put out their first EP, which is on Bandcamp. And yeah, I just like kind of realized like, fuck, dude, this is kind of where I was supposed to be this whole time. Shit.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're here now, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I mean, it all clicked, dude. Like when you get that moment, it's like with learning music, eventually people always say like, just keep practicing, eventually it'll click. And then when you find that kind of feeling, like with getting a new band or just like clicking with musicians that you can just feel the vibe with, like, I think that's always just like an aha moment. That's always fun to have.
Yeah, definitely. Like at the time I joined this band, I was actually singing in a group called Good Day, Sir, who were like I guess post-hardcore. Like, like one of those things where it's like, I don't know what else to call it, but it had like math stuff going on. It had like the guitar player is actually, he's in a full-on like math rock band now, but he would do these like insane like tapping riffs, and I just had to figure out how to like sing or scream over them or whatever. um it was cool, but the vibe just wasn't 100% there. Like, we played a bunch of shows, we were together for like two years or something like that, but I feel a lot more at home just like playing guitar in a band, pretty much.
Oh yeah. It's always good to have like a good skill like that in the back pocket. Like, I never know.
Yeah.
Jacking,
You never know, man.
fill it
Yeah.
out. Up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's
Oh, my bad, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, I mean, like, I guess we were talking about New Jersey, and it's like, seems like I mean, besides like obviously all the diversity of like sounds coming out of there, it's like seems like a very like convenient place to be, since there's just like you just go up and down the coast and you can like hit so many different cities. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
like,
So I currently live in a town like actually like right on the coast. I'm technically like, I'm on the dry side of a shore town, is what they call it. I'm like an hour train ride from New York City, or like an hour and a half drive to Philly, or if I go a little bit more north, I could hit Connecticut. Like, it's kind of right in the middle of a whole bunch of different
mhm.
like areas, especially to play live and stuff like that. We're surrounded by like really, really nice like studios and all that. So it's definitely a cool spot to be in, even though nobody actually like comes here to play. We can go wherever we want to play.
There's always the open road.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
do you have any tales of the road you can recant us with? Any fun road stories or silly news stories or anything just like bizarre and out there, maybe?
So here's a bizarre thing. I have basically looked like this sans beard since I was like, I don't know, 13 years old. I joined my first band at the age of 12. Everybody had thought that I was older than that and didn't bother to ask me. It's just how it was. And I ended up being the singer of this band that sounded like The Used, but terrible. And I actually ended up doing my first tour at 13. Um, so that was a wild fucking experience. It was right around the time that we had this whole thing where, I don't know if you know what Friends Stand United is, or FSU. It was basically a straight edge gang um who would come to shows and just try to hurt people, but not like a crowd killing way, like stabbing people way. So we had like a really big problem with this gang that would just basically come to every show in New Jersey and just like beat the shit out of people. So I am a 13-year-old touring all throughout, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, like I mentioned, while this gang was happening, and I saw some shit. Like, I saw a bunch of fights. I didn't see any kind of like stabbings, but I've been to shows where people got put into the hospital. My band almost got into a fight. We were high school and younger, and you had these like 25-year-old straight edge dudes just like picking fights with us because our drummer was sneaking a beer in the parking lot. Like, it was kind of an insane time to play shows here, and I feel like that's part of why nobody comes here. And yeah, it was just like a very formative experience, I guess, because like you kind of see the world at that point for what it is, even though you're like super young and don't know, like you don't even understand like what like a tax is yet, but you do know, that you're not supposed to go to these certain cities at night because you will actually like get attacked or whatever. You know, we have like a pretty infamous venue in Trenton in New Jersey, probably like 45 minutes from where I'm at, that has bullet holes in the sides of it. And that's like kind of a, growing up in New Jersey, you have to kind of have a dark sense of humor. We all kind of like think that's funny, but then bands that are coming in from like out of state or whatever are like, should we even be here? Like, no, it's fine. Just don't go a block that way after you're done playing or whatever, because you might get attacked by somebody. We have no idea. So yeah, a lot of like really scary shit happening to me at a very young age. And that band actually lasted like a couple of years. We never actually got into a recording studio or anything like that, but yeah, really, really crazy time, basically going out and playing shows every weekend at, you know, before I was even in high school. It was kind of insane.
I mean, I guess that's rough, but like at the same time, you're still doing it. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it basically took over my life. Music took over my life at a young age. My cousins like brought me to Warped Tour in like 2002 or something like that. Saw the Used play and was like, all right, yep, this is my entire life now. back when they were at their prime.
Oh yeah, that was like the year the self-titled album dropped, and like Burt McCracken was on freaking like the Osbournes and shit. Like they were part of life at the time.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I just like, you know, when I was a little kid, like my dad was super into like Iron Maiden and the whole like grunge thing kind of growing up, but then I see that and it's just like, oh, it's just like four just guys just playing as hard as they possibly can. Like this is amazing.
And like 2002, that was like Burt McCracken, like his throat was still fresh, he could still belt, and like Box Full of Sharp Objects was still like just a song that he could flex on like nobody's business.
Yeah, it was insane. It's like you didn't even like hear him take a breath most of the time. He was just like screaming his lungs out the whole set. It was insane.
Oh yeah, and just screaming, puke, dude, just like puked his guts out, and then he just keep.
yeah. Oh my god, those like photos of him puking into like trash cans on stage are just like burned into my brain at this point. Like,
oh yeah, it was just so different than what was going on. You have Linkin Park and stuff, but they're all like dancing in front of like digital backgrounds and stuff, and then you got some dude like a trash can, and it's like, wow, this is like the best parts of like punk, but it's like kind of new, and it's like he's like 5-6 years older than me. He's just like up there beating ass.
Yeah, oh my god, they were so young when they got big. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. Have you ever the story of how Burt McCracken got like his band signed?
No, I heard that they were talking to like John Feldman.
Yeah. So
from Goldfinger.
Yeah. So what Burt McCracken did was bum rush onto Goldfinger's bus and give him like his demo. And
oh my god.
and got the demo was just and then they like ripped the kid off the bus and he's just like, I got a demo. And he actually checked it out, and it's just like, to anybody trying to get their name out there, man, just sometimes you got to take a chance.
Wow. Yeah.
Bum rush that bus.
Yeah.
or just DM us on Demo Team. We'll give you a chance, bro.
Yeah. No.
Join the Badussy Files.
Yeah. Anyone can be here. You just got to ask.
Yep.
That simple. But I mean, at the same stretch, it's like with anything like music wise, like most people need to realize, like, you know, step out of your own way. It's not unachievable. It's not impossible. All you have to do is like go for it. Just do it.
Yeah, you just gotta
take
put the
work first steps.
Definitely. Yeah. You gotta like you gotta put the time in for sure. And eventually, like if you care enough about what you're doing, somebody else will. And you just gotta, you know, keep at it pretty much. It's, you know, it sucks because like this is the first band that has not imploded on me, hopefully yet, knock on wood. I don't know, but yeah. And you gotta commit to it, and as long as everybody gets along, you should be all right. It might take forever, like that band Clutch took a long time before they started to get like super popular.
Oh yeah.
But now they're a headlining band. It just takes time.
I remember when Clutch was just one of them bands on like Viva La Bands. Like Viva La Bam had like the little compilation albums, and he always
Oh my god.
and shit like that. And just
Yeah.
that's how I found out about some bands, man. There ain't no shame finding like cool bands on like compilation albums, because like with Warped Tour, they also had those. They had shit tons of compilation
Oh yeah,
albums.
compilation albums were the best. I mean, I guess now it's just playlists, but
The lost art.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, no,
think-
compilations were huge back then. Like because you would get one with like every CD you would buy. Like every record label would have a compilation like on the back of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just discovered bands that way, because there wasn't like, pre MySpace, you kind of had nowhere to go unless you were a cool kid and like knew about like Last FM or something like that.
You had a subscription to a magazine that was like hip to like helping you out finding new bands, whether it be like Revolver Mag or fucking Alt Press or
You had to, for a
Good
penny a
Talk.
month, you got a CD, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Hey, man.
shell out the $20 and get a CD with it.
And then they just own your money for the rest of your life. So just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
Get that subscription.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, times definitely have changed, because like it's not like that anymore. Luckily, there's the magic of the internet, playlists, and just websites with communities, whether it be Reddit or Facebook groups or shit. There's plenty of places. Like there's just Discord chats dedicated to like people's bullshit. Like it's so different.
Oh yeah.
Now.
Yeah, we are actually like, once this record comes out, we are going to try to, we have like a band Discord, and we're going to try to get people to like join it and like hang out with us or whatever. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but it's like, it just seems like a cool thing that we could potentially, work something out on for sure. Because Facebook is just not doing it anymore. Like Instagram is still all right, but we're like and obviously you've got TikTok, but we're a death metal band, and that doesn't do anything for that. So you know what I mean? Like there's just like nobody that would want to hear our music is on TikTok. That's just not a thing. So
I think you could
probably
find
is, but
if I think like Lorna Dorf, like I know it's not mentioned, it's deathcore, but like I feel like if that can blow up on TikTok, which is just like you got a dude like screaming like a pig and a little,
true.
It's not impossible. I think there's an audience out there for everybody, and you just got to strive for it, whether it be digging through hashtags or just finding someone within your community that's got like hardcore team or something like that can kind of help like bring some extra eyes to your product. Like I think there's not, like, even with Facebook, I think there's always something you can like milk off the tree of life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys have been killing it with the polls, so there's always something.
We're always money in the banana stand.
And listen, man, I vote for Coheed every time.
Well,
people that
now I know whose fault it is.
Are you one of those folks that ask if Coheed's not on the poll? You're like, which vote is for Coheed?
No, I'm not one of those guys, but every time I see them, like after you guys put them up against like Jesus, I was like, all right, it's Coheed. That rules. It is Coheed, and that rules. Yeah, that was another huge band for me growing up. So
hell yeah, like
definitely.
Wait, aren't they from Jersey?
So we love to say that they're technically from upstate New York, but all of their first shows were in New Jersey. So we love to take credit, and they count New Jersey as hometown shows, so they get it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I think Kohi's really good about giving their fans what they want, and I'm pretty sure they would go across the whole globe going like, "This is our hometown," because
Probably.
everyone.
But it's not
Yeah.
New Jersey, so
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. So like, fuck, man. Like, I feel like this is the most post-hardcore death metal interview ever. Like, I don't think I've ever met a death metal fan that is like so in tune with like post-hardcore as a genre. Like, it's always trippy to me.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing, man. Like there's really like not much music that I don't listen to. Like, you know, it's not even like I can't even be like, well, except rap and country or whatever people love to say, because like I also love that shit. Like I grew up kind of listening to post-hardcore, and then my dad, like I said before, like played like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, like in the car or whatever. um and then around like 11, 12 years old, no, it had to have been, maybe it was around then, I don't remember. I went to Taste of Chaos in 2005, and I was introduced to Unearth and Killswitch Engage on that tour. And that kind of like, I was like, oh my God, like I had just never heard anything like that in my entire life. So I was like, all right, I need to find every band that sounds like this. And then eventually I go on down this rabbit hole that's like, I'm listening to nothing but metal for like 5 years straight. But I always had the like post-hardcore thing, because that was kind of the most formative genre of music for me, I guess. But then, I had this whole relationship with metal that just kind of grew over the years. And then, a big one that kind of merged all of that, I guess, was Colors, the Between the Buried and Me album. When that came out, it was like you started seeing like all types of people going to their shows, and it kind of solidified the idea of like, oh, like it's not weird that I like all of this. um it was kind of cool to just like see like all these different people that you would think would never interact together were like going to the same shows finally. And then, eventually you get hardcore kids getting into like even crazier like death metal stuff. Like, it was just like that record kind of made me feel like I had permission, as stupid as it sounds, to like be into all these kinds of music. So now I'm just like, whatever, man. Like I will listen to absolutely everything. I probably listen actually to the least metal out of anyone else in our band. But I can flip that switch when I need to, especially when you're tracking, I think there's we counted it, 74 guitar tracks on the record, because every single thing, like basically every guitar part is tracked like 4 times. So yeah, I can flip the switch when I need to, but it like post-hardcore to me is like a first love, for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. I think for me myself, like I thinking back to when I was younger, like I think like my first brush with like death metal, I mean, would probably have been like Job for a Cowboy transitioning from like deathcore.
Yeah.
And like I think that was always like something I find it peculiar. While it's not like one of my favorite genres, I definitely have respect for it. And like Job for a Cowboy definitely was like my gateway to that. And it's like I'm sure that's like cringy as fuck to say to someone who's probably like a diehard like death metal person. They're like, what the fuck? I'm just kidding.
No, that was the gateway for a lot of people. Like that was when you started seeing like the scene kids show up at like a Lamb of God show. It was like Job for a Cowboy kind of started that whole thing. So they like, whether or not you're into it, especially nowadays, I mean, they might be back together. I think that's the whole thing right now, is they might be back together.
That's the rumor.
Yeah. I mean, they did end up transitioning into like straight up death metal later on anyway. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that was the gateway for so many kids I knew, for sure.
Dude, he is very far away. It's a very long time ago.
Yeah. Wild. Yeah. But yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. You know, I was already listening to the hard shit by age like 14 or whatever, but I was just like stoked on the fact that like suddenly there were people in my school that like were also into this, and it was because of Job for a Cowboy, and like The Devil Wears Prada was another like huge one.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Like,
I love Prada.
yeah. Like they weren't deathcore, but they had the like screams going on, and
Oh yeah, they
yeah.
bridged a lot of gaps. I felt like they weren't crabcore to the extreme. They
Yeah.
weren't hardcore to the extreme. I feel like they touched enough bases from like the Christcore scene to the hardcore scene to deathcore to like
Yeah.
everything else. They were a big bridge. They had an umbrella of sound that people could vibe with.
Yeah, definitely. God, yeah. I was actually thinking about that the other day. Like, so many of those bands were Christian. I don't like understand why that was such a huge thing, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
always wondered that too, honestly.
Yeah, like
I it was even enforced on bands. Like I think He Is Legend was signed to like Solid State, and
yeah,
they were not Christian core, but their like label was like, yes, you are.
yeah. Yeah, like Zayo is one of my favorite bands of
Oh
all
hell yeah.
time, and they used to have to like lie to the press about like what certain songs were about, because like they were portrayed as this like clean Christian band playing like the heaviest metalcore you'll ever hear. Like, I don't understand how, even if they said it was about like Christianity, like how anyone believed it. Like, it was really intense,
Yeah.
especially for like that time.
I think like that one thing, like one of those bands that was like that Under Oath, like when they came out like in like 2017 or I forget when it was, but they basically came out and were like, we were never Christian. Like it was
Yeah.
all
No,
biggest turn. They turned into the bad guys.
yeah, they very much were a Christian band, but
Oh
they're
yeah.
definitely not anymore, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I don't know if you speaking of like metal, like their first couple of records are just like straight up Christian black metal. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Dallas, like God bless that dude. He
Oh
was like
yeah.
he was
Absolutely.
going hard as fuck. And like I'm super happy because we've had him on the show, like luckily enough. And
Hell yeah.
hear his story of like healing and he's missing an eye. He had like a whole ATV accident. Just
Yeah.
like seeing like fuck, maybe that black metal Jesus like kept him alive.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, it's super sick to see Maylene kind of doing stuff again. Like, that's awesome. You know, I like couldn't even imagine like how that must have felt, like being able to like going from where he was to like being able to get back to it is just like awesome.
Yeah, that's some
Super amazing.
awe-inspiring. Like, more power to that dude. Like, if he can do it, shit, dude. Like, if some dude's sitting at home right now listening and then his headset, just like, man, I should start a band. Like, do it, dude. Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And it's-
if Dallas Taylor can like will it to like continue like screaming in a band with all his, disabilities and like all the things that he's gone through, and just like do it with like a badass machismo, like go for it, brothers.
oh yeah, he
Yeah.
had like such a great attitude too. Like he was just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, he's like, this is hard, but like I'm gonna do it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So
Because like, what else are you gonna do? You know, like
exactly.
Yeah, he basically felt like, I have a story that needs to be told. And if it's like a source of inspiration for people, just like the fact that I can just even like will myself to do this, he goes, it's really cool that some people have like some noble expression that they want to bring with their art.
Yeah, definitely. That is like, it's insane to like see that in real time, because like you always hear about it, but like that's like straight up a movie plot, you know what I mean? Like, it's so sick. I'm very, very happy for him. Great guy, you know. Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I love how we can tap dance like from like black metal, death metal, and it all like comes back to like it's some core band.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's like
This is great. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm not gonna lie to you because it's like I'm not the hugest death metal guy, and I know like I don't know about Cash, but I was like I was
yeah,
worried.
same boat, but
I was like, oh man, is Badussy Files gonna be like scary right now, where we reveal ourselves as like super ultimate posers? But
they're gonna they're coming for us. We're canceled, Ryan. This is over.
No.
This is the end.
we'll have to get slam bands in here next. That
Yeah.
way we can really.
Listen, I have a feeling that I still somehow have somewhere a copy of Someday Came Suddenly on CD. I like it's not
Wow.
like I don't think there is such a thing as like a poser. Like don't lie about the music you're into, but also like don't be afraid to just talk about what you're into.
Exactly. Yeah.
Once you get
I
me
wish I
talking
had
about
that
music,
CD.
I don't shut up. So
But like back to your music, let's go back to that EP you dropped last year, Blight Upon All. Like
yeah, man.
when did you start writing that?
So I actually had joined the band after it had been released, but our so for a while, at least for probably the first year that we were all together, because I guess I joined in May of 2020 and or 2021, and I think they put that out in March. I'm gonna look like
Check
an
right
asshole
now.
right
Let's see
now.
real quick.
February. They
Feel
dropped
free.
it
It says
in
March
February.
19th. March 19th.
19th. What? Oh, our Bandcamp is wrong. Anyway,
Well, I mean that's Spotify, so who knows, honestly.
yeah, who knows, to be honest. But yeah, so I joined like shortly after that, along with my friend Wes, who is the drummer of the band. And it's actually funny, we had been internet friends for like 5 years or something like that. And finally I was just like, dude, I feel like you would want to be a part of this too. And it worked out better than I could have imagined.
So you hadn't met him before, like this, or had you met him like when you say you were internet friends?
Yeah, like it's complicated. So it's possible that we were in the same room together because I went
to the
to
same shows, or
yeah, we went to the same shows. Probably I went to college at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, and he also went there but left the year he left the same year that I started there. So we knew the same people and like we're friends on Facebook and like talk sometimes, but it's like I don't remember a time where we actually met in person. So I basically hit up this drummer that I don't know because I heard he's good to audition for this band with him, because at the time it was just the bassist and the vocalist. Our bass player Evan actually wrote all 3 of the songs on the EP, and most of the songs on the record that's coming out. I contributed 1. We re-recorded the songs that are on the EP, and there's 7 new ones. So yeah, you'll get to hear those fully realized instead of like MIDI drums and stuff like that. But yeah, it just like it was crazy because the second we start playing, it just like locked in, and we were basically good to go from there. And we found another guitar player, didn't quite work out. We just recruited somebody. We haven't technically made that announcement yet, but we will probably next month ish. Yeah.
Demo Team exclusive. All right.
Yeah, man.
World Eater exclusives.
Yeah, World Eater exclusive.
World Eater exclusive. Getting their Badussy 8.
Yeah, this is the only podcast I've done since we've started working on the record. So I guess everything I'm telling you right now is an exclusive thing.
Oh yeah.
All right, right on.
Yeah, yeah, so we're all very, very proud of what we're about to put out. In terms of the EP, those were the 3 songs that we auditioned. I probably know our title not the title track, but the first track on the EP, Ouroboros, is like, we call it the warm up at this point because we played it like 1,000 times. Yeah, I mean, like, I love those songs, but I think the new stuff that we've got is like really wild. Like, I'm very, very proud of what we've done here, and that's the first time I think I feel like I can say that about an album that I've worked on, so that's cool.
Hell yeah. And I gotta say, like, when you're proud of what you put out, like, it's a good feeling, and I'm always searching for that feeling. So I respect that you've achieved that, sir.
Hell yeah.
It's all about the pride.
Yeah, exactly.
If I had one, but I don't have a hat, so I'll just nod my head in your general direction, be like, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah.
Dude, give him a hair flip real quick.
There you go.
It's a little excessive, but I can dig it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
fine. Actually, I have a hat. One sec.
Tip your fedora.
Much appreciated, guys. But yeah, no, this is cool. We haven't, it's funny, we haven't actually done all that much yet in terms of doing band stuff. Like, we've actually only played one full show together. But that got super crazy reception. It was filmed, and I think like something like 75 people showed up to the first show, which I was like, all right, like, this is better than anything else that I've ever been a part of, for sure. Like, you go on tour, you're playing to like 10 people, and suddenly, you know, you're in this death metal band that you don't think anybody knows about, and then you show up to a show and you have to like weave through a crowd to get to the stage. That was crazy.
Was that y'all's first show, or had they played shows before?
No, that was our first show. So we're like, technically this project formed in 2020, but it was just the bass player and vocalist. So that was the first show with like a full band lineup.
All right.
Yeah, it was
grassroots marketing right there, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, because I feel like we didn't promote it. It was technically, we were the first of 4, and it was a birthday show for Theo from this band called Weeping, and it was just like crazy because a lot of people showed up and the room kind of cleared after we were finished playing, which sucks because Weeping rocks, but like, it was just a wild thing to see. I guess you like,
yeah,
look out, you know, you're staring at your hands and then you look up at a crowd and it's like a crowd. It's not just like a couple of people. So
yeah,
and it's on film, so you know, there's proof that it happened.
Away from me.
Yeah, no one can take that away from us, but we got a couple of plans in the next couple of months of shows and stuff. But yeah, we are dying to get this record done so we can just start playing out as much as possible. We started in April, and it's been a long process. Like, we all work full time. You know, we're not living that life yet, but yet. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's been a long process, but I think like it's going to be worth it in the end. Like, it feels like it is for the first time ever. So yeah, super stoked.
I mean, you give off a very like stoic, cool as fuck vibe. So I hope for you too, dude. Like,
thanks, man.
You seem to be like a seasoned veteran of the scene. You're well versed in not only your own genre of music, but multiple. So it's just like, it's cool to be able to pick your brain on here. I was going to ask, I know you joined the band after, like, I'm sure they were named World Eater before you joined. Is there a story behind that? Because I have 2 theories, whether it's a Bray Wyatt reference or a Galactus reference.
Oh man, you are unfortunately wrong on both counts. However, when Bray Wyatt returns to the spotlight, I think if we were able to, like, if he walked out to like our music, that'd be it for me. Like, be like, all right,
Yeah.
I made it. I don't have to do anything else. Bray Wyatt acknowledges World Eater. So we're about to get real nerdy. I don't write, I mean, I wrote the lyrics to one of the songs on the record, but our vocalist writes all the lyrics, and every song is basically about a villain from a TV show, a video game, or an anime. World Eater comes from Skyrim. Yeah, yeah. So there's that, and then also our bass player Evan, who was the brains behind the operation for like a really, really long time before it got more collaborative. He also says it's named after a song by the band Bolt Thrower, which is called World Eater. Super sick song, and we definitely the EP definitely sounds like that band. So it's probably also that, but it was intended as a Skyrim reference.
I get it. I was wrong on both accounts. I should just give up guessing shit. I'm just never gonna do it again.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's honestly better guess than like most other people, because I feel like we tell people what it's called and they're just like, yeah, metal. I'm like, yeah, but it's like there's a thing behind it. It's not just like, you know.
Yeah.
No, we're just really big Jimmy Eat World fans.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I am a huge Jimmy Eat World fan, but I can't say the same about the rest of the guys.
It's the most like, secretive Jimmy Eat World reference ever. I mean, on one stretch though, it's always good to have a band name that keeps people guessing. Like, oh, is it this? Is it that? And it's like it's a good way to engage, to like get them like thinking.
Yeah, but then you see our logo and you know immediately what it sounds like. I really wish we did like script font just to confuse people.
But, I mean,
keep them guessing even more, right?
Like the world's first like K-pop like symphonic death metal band.
Yeah. That'd be wild.
Here.
Oh man.
You have any questions, Cash?
So you have 10, you got 10 tracks coming out for the next album, and you said you wrote the lyrics to one, or you write the whole song?
I wrote the music to one and the lyrics to another.
Okay.
And both of those songs are 7+ minutes long, so everybody can look forward to that.
So I guess I was wondering, like what was kind of like your inspiration behind these two songs?
So the song that I wrote lyrics for is I am also a massive nerd. I'm not going to pin this all on the singer. The song I wrote ended up being about Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the logo right there. Yeah.
Bro, he gets cooler.
Thanks. That's the
I think
first
you're Ryan's
time...
favorite interview now. So
yeah, holy shit. I feel like this is the first time anybody's called me cool more than 0 times.
We're about to be like new besties, man. Just hit me up. We're big for each other on social media. We're gonna geek out on some stuff.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I'm adding you. It's fine. For sure. The one that I wrote the music for though is like I am also a very big fan of doom metal, specifically this band called Yob. And I feel like I was trying to write a song that sounded like them, but then it just kind of ended up sounding like, I don't know, just like a weird, like there's a couple of time signature changes in it. It got weird. It got way more progressive than I was expecting it to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that was the biggest inspiration for that song, but also like I had been listening to a lot of the band Duran Gray while I was writing it.
You just keep getting cooler.
Yeah, they are one of my favorite bands of all time. I don't know what any of the lyrics are, but it's fine. They're
It sounds good.
yeah, exactly. For those that don't know, they are the weirdest Japanese metal band, and they're super sick, and you should check them out. Yeah, but yeah, they were also like a really huge inspiration at the time for sure. Yeah, so it's just like it's a combination of all different things, and I feel like when you hear the record, that song is definitely going to stick out as one that's like not not like the others. I mean, the two longer ones they stick out a lot. But I feel like that one in particular is just very different from the rest. Not better, just different. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction to that one, because it's bizarre. It's definitely weird.
I think one thing I need to know though is what's your favorite Godzilla movie?
Oh God. Okay. Shit. Putting me on the spot. Well, man, I grew up on the 90s movies. So that to me is like when like you say the word Godzilla, that's what I picture in my head. Man, I don't know. Versus Mechagodzilla 2 is a really good one. That's probably up there. Shin Godzilla, the one that just came out like a couple of years ago,
that was pretty lit.
Unbelievable, like a legitimately like good movie. Like
it's I'm a big fan of Godzilla, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like the human plots are always like A+ material.
Yeah. Oh no, they're all terrible. Like they're like none of them, like it's really not. I can't recommend it to anybody that asks me about it, because I'm just like, they're all kind of bad, but I love them and it's fine.
Like for me, like with my favorites, like I like Godzilla versus Gigan. I like from the 90s, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and plots in those movies are so like out there and like wonky that as B movie plots go, they're just entertaining. They're not fun, they're not great, but they're just like so bad they're good that you can just kind of like power through it. That and Godzilla talk and fucking Godzilla versus Gigan, which is
they
fucking
like talk to each other. It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's sick. I love that one. It's definitely weird.
Story though, and that's like the most startling contrast for it. You got Godzilla bleeding out of his shoulder and stuff. It's so cool. But if I had like an absolute favorite, I would probably be that one from like I think it was the 2000 series, All Out Monster Attack. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And he has like white eyes and big saber teeth. Like that one's the shit. I love that one.
That's a really, really good one. That's definitely in my top like 3.
I feel like Shin Godzilla was like looking at that playbook like a little bit.
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely. He's just like chaos. It's great.
Good. And it just had a good roster of monsters. So I'm always happy with a lot of like rubbery kaijus running around.
Yeah. People like don't get it, but there's just something about it, man. It's just awesome.
You get it. It's just like pure bliss. It's like I think like you grew up with like Power Rangers and stuff. You get used to rubber monster suits, and I grew up like Godzilla. I knew about Godzilla before Power Rangers, so I was just kind of that defined my taste. Like I can't remember being a fan of anything like super well, but I know like as an early child I like dinosaurs, and that meant I like Godzilla. So
same, exact same. And I remember I was talking to one friend about it, and I kind of had to be like, well, it's like wrestling, you know what I mean? Like it's like the stories are just like vehicles to get to the fighting. Like that's the whole thing.
But when they're good, when they're done well, it's just like it's like seeing a wizard do magic for the first time. It's just like it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't happen, but it's just magical.
Yeah, when the plot is good, it's like that's the cherry on top. Definitely.
Hell yeah. Heck yeah, dude. I'm stoked. This interview is awesome. see, Cash, do you have any other questions, or you want to move on to like recent listens?
Well, I was as a joke, I was gonna be like, "What do y'all think of Zilla?" But but it's
I will admit, when I was a child, when I saw that movie, I cried at the end because they killed Godzilla, which I was just like, you grow up, your hero's
with the
Godzilla.
helicopter. Yeah, I remember
It-
that. I liked it a lot when I was a kid, but yeah, it was a pretty bad movie.
Yeah, I will say though, if you watch anything Godzilla related, watch the clip where Zilla shows up in Final Wars.
Oh yeah, I know where they just immediately kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on screen for 5 seconds, but we're all to blame by Sum 41 is just like
Yes.
blaring in the background. It is like one of the sickest like clips that you'll ever see from a movie. It's fucking amazing.
And in terms of like movie human plots in Godzilla movies, Final Wars actually has a pretty decent one that's fun to watch. It's basically Power Rangers because it's just a bunch of fly and kick.
Yeah, it's wild. And the American guy, there's one American and he just looks like Stalin. It's like crazy.
I knew his name. He used to be an MMA fighter. He was actually a pro wrestler for a little bit. I fucking forgot his name, but that dude is awesome. He's just so serious.
It's so sick. It's like
I want to say Tavern, I think, something like that.
Okay. I haven't actually looked that up. I don't know how I haven't, but
know for a fact because he's just like a pro wrestler. He wrestled in Japan, so it was just like that's how he got that Americanization into a Japanese movie.
Oh yeah, that would explain that, the whole New Japan thing.
Oh yeah, something like that. Either the New Japan or All Japan Pro.
Oh yeah. Okay.
One of those. I can nerd out about wrestling and Godzilla all day. But anything else, Cash, or you want to move on to recent lists?
Do we move on to recent listens? I think we covered. I mean, is there anything else? Any other things from your band we need to talk about? Anything you want to address?
I mean, we've been hard at work at this record, and I just, when it comes out, check it out, man. Just
all right,
humor us at least.
And any tours looking at, or
no tour plans yet, but like I said, we're going into some email chains that I can't talk about, and we'll see where that goes. But basically, if the record comes out by the end of the year, we'll have self-released it. If you don't see it by the end of the year, somebody else is helping us. And that's kind of all I'll say about that, because I don't think I'm supposed to talk about that right now.
No more demo team exclusives here.
No, if I could talk about it, I definitely would, but I'm not.
All right,
I'm not supposed to.
Hey, well, I mean, if you want, you're always welcome back. You can give us the scoops.
Dude, yeah. I would love to come back. Honestly, this has been very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it would be great on a panel episode with someone else of similar like fandoms and knowledge. Like, I feel like we could have another good part 2 episode of this.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I'd be so down. Like, I'm always ready to just like talk about stuff.
This interview went by like a breeze, and like I'm vibing with it. Like I like legit. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried. I was like, shit, I don't know no death metal.
Oh man, no, I was nervous as hell. You never know, what you're walking into. But no, this was great.
Thank God I had Job for a Cowboy in the back pocket.
Yeah.
You and Demi
bridges
Lovato,
the
right?
gap, like I said.
Definitely worked. But usually, as we come close to wrapping up episodes, as we are here,
occasionally, maybe not usually, but occasionally.
Sometimes, yeah, we like
time
to bring
and
this
time
out the old back pocket. We usually like to ask our guests, what have you been recently listening to? If you want to like shout out your homies or your friends, like this is a great time to do it. If you just have some great musical recommendations, feel free, dude. Like, floor is yours.
Hell yeah. So yeah, obviously, I mean, check out my band World Eater, obviously. But I want to shout out, a couple of our friends in the scene. weeping, like I had mentioned before. They're they asked us to go on that first show. We didn't have to beg them, so that was awesome. Our friends in the band Bot Lam, they are a grindcore band also from New Jersey. That's I bet I fucked this up. BAHYT space LAHM. We call them Bread Lamp. It's fun. And shout out to Mind Decay Productions, who's kind of carving out a niche. They're the ones that filmed our first show, and they are kind of trying to carve out a niche of kind of like a Hate 5-6 thing, but focused entirely on metal, which is awesome. We definitely need more of that. Yeah, so those are my shout outs. I got my Spotify here. In terms of what I've been listening to, the new record by No Devotion featuring Jeff Rickley from Thursday. Unbelievable if you're into like synthwave stuff like I am. I've been revisiting the hip hop group Hail Mary Mallon. I'm desperate for them to put out a new record. It's been 8 years, but their record Bestiary I like absolutely love. Who else we got? Alkaline Trio, LS Dunes. The 2 new songs are awesome. And earlier today I was jamming Chelsea Wolfe. The Apocalypsis record is like one of my favorites of all time. It's just, that atmosphere is just unbelievable. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, the new Callous Dowboys record, to kind of bring it into like core a little bit. So good. Unbelievable. Yeah, and I think that's it.
I'm vibing with it, dude. Good choices. I mean, if I had to say what I was listening to recently, I mean, I've been listening to a lot. I watched that Elvis movie, so I'm actually like on a little bit of an Elvis binge. I kind of grew up with that, like my grandpa.
We should interview Elvis.
Yeah, that'd be great. Get his ghost on the toilet, dude. That'd be.
Lots of impersonators. We have to make sure it's the real one.
Just do a seance. It's fine.
I don't think we'd be the first people to do a seance Elvis interview podcast, but
yeah.
I was also listening to Silk Sonic. That shit's dope. I love Bootsy Collins. That, you know, Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars really released like a fire album.
Yeah,
and
that
I guess
record is so good. It's like so good.
Oh yeah, they captured a vibe from a better time for music.
Yeah.
A foregone era.
Like vibes like that. I'm listening to a lot of Melv because I like Devil Artemis. But what about you, Cash? You been listening to anything fun lately?
What do I got? Someone dropped like a video on Twitter, and it was like this guy from Japan playing like, I don't know, like a Japanese banjo like thing. And I don't know, I've been kind of like, and he was playing it with like Buddy Guy, who's like an old blues guitarist. I don't know, I've been kind of like trying to dig through that stuff a little bit. I've been trying to like balance the speakers in my car a little better, and I've been using From First to Last to do it, because that's kind of some pretty good go-to stuff.
We're secretly like, we started out as like a Dance Gavin Dance podcast, but I'm pretty sure we like name dropped From First to Last and reference From First to Last probably more than in like just as much as like Linkin Park, I feel.
Yeah.
Linkin Park and From First to Last, and I mean, obviously Dance Gavin Dance. I guess I got a little Usher. Always have a little Citizen in rotation.
Nice.
The Prodigy, of course. That's about it, honestly.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Solid.
Which
solid.
Now brings us to a close where we'd say goodbye to our guests. Thank you so much, Dan, for taking the time today. Yeah, dude, this was actually like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. I know we told you before we started, we did a 2 for today, and I think it actually came out better than I thought it would, because I was like, fuck, 2 interviews in one day. I don't know.
Yeah, we did pretty well on both, I think.
Yeah, I think we kicked their ass today, and I appreciate you for being a great guest, dude. That only helps
Yeah.
me boost my confidence. Let me
Yeah,
know that I can hang
you
out.
basically hit all of Ryan's like everything
Nerd.
Ryan's all about. Like you pretty much like hit it. So
Hell yeah. Yeah,
you're
guys,
you're
thank
pretty
you.
much the second Ryan, I think,
Yeah,
or maybe Ryan's the second Dan.
Oh
that
shit.
sound, who's older?
Maybe. I don't know.
Do you know who your father?
uh, but yeah, guys, it was so much fun. Thank you a lot for having me. This was great.
Of course.
Who
It's a
knew
great
that?
addition to the Badussy Files.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
like who knew that a great interview could come out of such a silly shit post?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
knew.
yeah,
That's
why
why I
not?
posted it.
Yeah.
Twitter didn't appreciate it, so
I
Facebook.
know. We had one Dan who commented. I should probably hit them up.
Hey, I'm closed. If they keep coming good, like with Dan here, man, I'm feeling this Badussy File.
Absolutely.
Hell
It's
yeah,
such
guys.
a subplot in season 3, but I'm here for it.
Oh, it's its own side. It's its own like it's like its own EP on the side. It's across
Is it,
from the main album. Yeah.
Yeah.
is it like that old bit on the Conan O'Brien show? It was like celebrity secrets, and it was just David Bowie like talking shit about stuff that like he used to put his hand. There's
kind of
Yeah.
like that. It's kind of like Better Call Saul, I think, is basically, but it's not a prequel. What is it? This is like Frasier, basically, is what we're doing.
years. It's
The
just too different.
spin-off.
It's I don't know. There's got to be a better comparison where it's
We'll
like,
figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
figure
yeah,
it out.
we got you got a few more band or
It's
at
the
least
movie.
one more.
I
It's the
believe in you
movies for
guys.
X-Files. They don't really have anything to do with the show, but they're like the same characters doing different adventures.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about the from the X-Files that they had that sideshow with like those conspiracy theorist people for
No,
like a
I'm
season?
I don't know. I don't recall that. I was talking about
That
like
was the thing.
X-Files had movies. Like they had like 3
Yeah, they
movies.
had movies. You're right, they had movies, but they also had a whole like separate series based off some like off characters that showed up in a couple episodes, and they made a whole series, but it didn't really work out. It only lasted a season, but it's like
Wild.
exactly.
You got
We're
me.
like a Disney. This is like the Disney Plus show to the
Yeah.
to the movies. Is what
There
this
you go.
is.
Making me think there's like
But I think it's a little more higher quality, to be honest. So,
I'm all here
but
for
shout
it.
out to my girl She-Hulk.
Hell yeah.
Praise be to the big women. But thank you so much, Dan, World Eater. Everyone should go listen to him. Where can they find you on social media? If you could plug your social media real quick before we depart.
Yeah. So basically you can find us everywhere at World Eater NJ. That's our Bandcamp URL. That's our Instagram. We're not on Twitter, Facebook. We are on Facebook. We're just not on Twitter. But yeah, at World Eater NJ, because apparently there was another band called World Eater that we didn't know about. So
What state were they from?
I have no idea, but they were like, weirdly enough, they were a hardcore band that
Okay.
I don't think is a thing anymore. So as far as I know, we're the only World Eater, but we'll see.
All
It
right.
could always be World Eater and NJ, dude.
Yeah.
They can't take it away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love a good state abbreviation behind the name.
Oh yeah, you gotta. Everybody from New Jersey is incredibly proud of where we're from. We will talk the most shit about the state, but you're not allowed to.
Yeah, you live. It's home.
Yeah, it's home.
Yeah, you can always talk shit about where you
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
live. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much for coming on here today. Cash, did you have anything you wanted to say before we get going?
No, I don't have anything to address, Ryan.
You don't have any allegations you want to address, Cash?
Oh
No, I don't have any allegations at all. Period.
Oh God, where's this going?
This is such a this is a quite like we made this a joke now.
Ryan keeps asking, is there anything else you'd want to address when he asks the bands? I'm just like the allegations.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
I'm like, you're gonna
dark
Yes.
humor, but I don't know. I don't know why Ryan has to always word it like that.
Because it's like, man, it's like, hey, anything else you'd like to address? Fuck you. I was a moderator on like message boards, like Easy Board growing up. Leave me alone.
Damn.
I'm an old man. I can reference age-old internet like Angel Fire, GeoCities. I can make like 60
Yes.
people.
Did you have Farmville, Ryan?
Yeah, I did. I was around when that's how old my Ryan Rex account is. It was around when Farmville was a thing on Facebook.
Yeah, I remember Farmville. That was.
I used to have a Tumblr when Tumblr was something like not
Dude,
just a relic.
I don't remember having a Tumblr, but the other week I got an email with a
That you had a
Tumblr
Tumblr?
newsletter and was like, hey, I don't even remember what the hell the name of it was, but they were like, hey, here's stuff you might have missed. I'm like, what?
I've been missing it a while.
Yeah, I like literally don't remember creating a Tumblr, but I guess I did.
It's out there, man.
I think I made
Yeah.
one, but I was like, what do I even use this for?
It was just shit posting. It just
Yeah.
post shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like the appeal of it was because at the time I remember like MySpace in like 2009 totally like crumbled, and they got rid of blogs, and you couldn't blog on MySpace anymore. And for people like me, that was appealing because I was an idiot that wrote, so people like reading my blogs, and I just like, hey, let me write still. So kept at it, man.
Yeah, man.
Now I write semi like bi-monthly, maybe sometimes.
Nice. It's something.
Hey, thanks to Ghost Kill Entertainment for letting my writing exist somewhere on the internet.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Hey. But I think that about does it here for us today. Thank you so much, Dan of World Eater, for coming here today. Ryan, and this is Cash, and this has been the
Thanks for the
podcast.
introduction.
All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
I gave you an intro outro.
I know. You're killing it, Ryan. Doing too much.
Double time in there, but I think that's about it. You can end it whenever you feel like it.